And I understand the national sentiment because of the salary ranges of head coaches that it feels like we're complaining, but we're really not. We're trying to sound warning bells, and that's what I believe we're all trying to do, is that there's a warning that the system that we're in is really sick right now, and college football is sick, and not in a. It's just there's showing signs of this thing really cracking moving forward. And we need to get something under control.
That's Missouri head coach Eli Drinkwitz talking about some of the problems in college football. He also talks about tampering, saying, quote, tampering is at the highest levels. There's no such thing as tampering because there's no one that's been punished for tampering. Everyone on my roster is being called. He also talked about financial education towards athletes and all of the problems that they have in college football. Caroline, I can get on my soapbox. I'll tell you about this. But first, I shall defer to you, my friend. Your thoughts on Coach Drinkwitz's statements?
You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't be a pot and call the kettle black. Whatever kind of little saying you want to use there, because I guarantee you Eli Drinkwitz is doing the exact same thing that he is accusing other coaches of doing and complaining about other coaches doing. And I guarantee you he's doing that because if you're not doing that, you're not winning. You are so exponentially behind the rest of the pack if you are not keeping up with the Joneses and doing everything else that other coaches are doing in college football. So I don't want to hear Eli Drinkwitz get up at the podium and clutch his pearls about all of the issues that are happening in college football, when in reality, it just kind of sounds like Eli Drinkwitz liked a time when it was easier for him to do his job. Now it's significantly more difficult to build a roster, retain a roster, recruit. You have NIL involved. You have to re-recruit your exact same roster every single year now with the transfer portal. Look, I don't envy college football coaches because their jobs have never been more difficult than they are right now. But are you upset with the system because it doesn't help student athletes, or are you upset with the system because it makes your job harder, because it makes your seat hotter? I hear a lot of college football coaches saying, well, the players can't make money because they're not financially literate, because they don't know how to pay their taxes. They don't know how to save and invest. We're not setting them up for success in the future. Well, then why don't you teach them those things? If you're going to say that you're glad that student athletes are making money, which I have said and always have been consistent in saying, NIL is a positive thing because it is just fundamentally un-American for college football players that create millions of dollars of value and wealth for other people. Don't see part of that. Eli Drinkwitz made that exact same claim in that press conference. He said, I think it's good that players are getting paid, and then says, and goes on to list 6 or 7 different reasons why he doesn't think it's a good thing that players are getting paid. It's just, it is not an issue with the system. To me, it just feels very hypocritical for Eli Drinkwitz to be clutching his pearls and pointing his finger at everybody else when he's doing the exact same thing.
You were kinder than I will be because I think the way that Eli Drinkwitz handled this moment and his microphone was disgusting, dangerous, and at best disingenuous. Like, let's just rip this thing apart, shred to shred, piece by piece. You talk about tampering without ever acknowledging that every single college football coach is also getting calls about other jobs. So you talk about tampering with players without acknowledging that there's tampering with coaches. You talk about tampering in a way that it impacts your roster without ever acknowledging what happens to that roster when you get tampered with and decide to take another job. So I can already eliminate the tampering part of this because it's not genuine. You're not trying to fix the coaching element of it. Let's just stop there. The second thing you talk about is financial literacy, and this drives me crazy all the way to my core. Your answer is, well, nobody's helping these kids. You even said in your press conference, like, they're 1099 employees. They don't get insurance. They don't get retirement. Okay. Where does this line end, Eli Drinkwitz? Because, frankly, I don't think anybody's ever worried for a single second about whether the guys in NSYNC got health coverage. I don't think anybody's ever sat there and said, man, are we setting up young musicians to get the best health care that they need? I don't think anybody's ever watched a TikTok video and thought, man, that influencer is making millions of dollars, but what about their retirement? Frankly, I don't think anyone's ever sat there and thought, oh, OnlyFans models are making tons of money. How are they paying their taxes? The fact is, you are an educator in a college. You run a program. If you really wanted financial literacy, you could demand that it be taught at Missouri. If you really wanted these kids to have the opportunity to figure out their taxes, you could demand that it be helped. You could provide those services from day one. Because let me tell you, I grew up poor. I grew up with nothing. And when I started making money in music, not a single person ever sat back and said, wait. You know what we got to do? We got to throttle back his ability to make money right now, because God knows, how is he going to pay his taxes? You figure it out. When you tour in music, you literally have to file tax forms with every single state in the country. You have to file tax forms with every country in the world that you make more than a certain amount of money in. And nobody has ever sat there and said, you know what? Hold on, guys. We can't let Sabrina Carpenter go out there and make that money. How is she going to pay your taxes? It's so disingenuous. If you really care about it, put the systems in place. If you want to fix this, you can fix this at Missouri, and you can even use it as a calling card. You can go to kids and say, hey, we will equip you with this information. Otherwise, all you are trying to do is use your microphone to control your labor costs. Shame on you for doing it that way. You want to fix it yourself. Don't ask everybody else to come in and throttle back players from having their opportunity to earn that they have worked their whole lives for, because you're afraid they can't handle the moment, unless you're doing that from every other kid anywhere in America, no matter what they do, and you're not doing that. So it's all just a big lie to control your labor costs. It's disgusting. I think Caroline has something to say, but I can't hear. Caroline is muted right now. So we'll see what Caroline's thoughts are as I've just eviscerated Coach Drinkwitz. Go ahead, Caroline.
I do not know why that happened, but very, very well said by you, and it is disgusting. To assume that kids, because that's who they are, that's what they are, they're children, they're kids, to assume these kids won't know what to do with their money and that's justification to not pay them is gross. Like you said, like, if you are the University of Missouri, the football program in the SEC, and you don't have those courses or resources in place to help your student out, like, what are you doing? This was something that I saw so many college football programs across America already have directly in place and firmly in place the day that NIL became legal. So you're either telling on yourself that you're not doing that as a football program, as a university, which is such an oversight and a bad move by Missouri, or you're just trying to pick at straws and claim, well, since they don't know what to do with their money, then they shouldn't get paid. No, that's not fair. And that's gross, and that's not right. And if I am a player in the transfer portal, or if I am a recruit in the state of Missouri, or a recruit getting recruited by Missouri, I'm listening to what Eli Drinkwitz is saying and saying, well, he says he wants me to get paid, but everything else that he's saying just claims that he doesn't want me to get paid. I don't want to go there to a place and play for a coach who doesn't think that this system is set up for me. And, Eli Drinkwitz said, college football is sick. College football is sick. Is it? Because college football viewership is at an all-time high. College football investment, financially and with resources, is at an all-time high. College football is a bigger sport than Major League Baseball. College football is a bigger sport than the NBA, than the NHL. College football is a professional league in and of itself, cosplaying as an amateur sport. I could make the argument that the sport has never been in a better place than it is right now. Now, are there parameters that need to be in place to make this model of college football more sustainable? I can totally have a conversation about that. Do we need to have standardization of NIL laws so it's a federal law and not state laws? I can totally get on board with that. Do we need to have more parameters in place and, changing the calendar a bit to make sure that coaches can't leave if the players can't leave in December? Sure. 1000%, I can get on board with that. There are changes that need to be made. The sport is not perfect, but to say that it's sick and to say that it's in a very critical time because players are, getting calls from coaches across America in the month of December about their efforts maybe next year, that's not the reason why the sport is quote unquote sick. The sport's not sick. It just needs to be adjusted. We just need to change our mindset about what college football is. No longer is this an amateur sport. And that's okay. The toothpaste isn't going back in the tube. And the more and more that you try and campaign for putting the toothpaste back into the tube, it just kind of makes you sound, for lack of a better term, a disingenuous ding dong.
There's this moment for me where just thinking about the concept that college football is broken. The number one team in the country is Indiana. Let that soak in. Indiana, the number one team in the country. We just finished a season where Vanderbilt had a very real shot at the college football playoff. We're about to have playoff games this weekend that have James Madison playing. We have Tulane playing, and we can question whether or not these teams belong all day long. That's fine. But we're also going to get actual meaningful football playoff games between huge brands like Oklahoma, Alabama, right? Like right now, the sport to me is the farthest from broken. It's better than it's ever been. There's an empowerment element of what's happening right now. And in the process of empowerment, coaches are losing some of the power that they have over everybody. And I get that feels difficult, and I get that doesn't feel sustainable. I also do fully support the concept of a unionization of every single college football player. Fine. You want to bring in a salary cap? You want to make everything collectively bargained? Fine. That process is going to take several years to negotiate, and a lot of schools are going to have to play nice in the sandbox together. But every single time a rich coach, like at the core, we forget this sometimes. A college football coach is most of the time the highest paid educator in their state. When you are the highest paid educator in your state, when that is who you are, when you are supposedly a teacher, if you want to go out and you want to help these kids, help them. If you want to make sure that they get the right influences around them, put processes in place where you can try and help some of the kids in your very school that want to be agents and lawyers. You can help them make connections early at college. You can help everybody start to work together. You can help try and figure out guidelines so that the kids that come to your school are insulated from the bad and hopefully have a better shot at the good. You can try and help everybody. When you stand up on a microphone and you tell people that the system is broken, the only person you're really trying to help is yourself. And that's why all of it feels absolutely fraudulent from Eli Drinkwitz or from whoever else stands up in the microphone, the next old man screaming off the lawn about how college football is broken.